Welcome back, guys. It's Shinoo at Electrogenic. Excited to talk to you about something that we have been dabbling with for a little while now, and that is EV conversion. So I know many of you are rolling your eyes right now and think that this is heresy, this is absolute sacrilege, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, I like the right tool for the job. You know, horses for courses, right? Let me start with a little quick story, right? When I first started buying cars, they were all 4 cylinders. Then I got an inline 6, and I thought, wow, this is really cool. And I had these naturally aspirated 4 cylinders, and then I got this naturally aspirated inline 6. And I was like, I really like this, it's smooth, it's fast. Then from there, I went to a Boxer 6. Got a 911, right? A flat 6 that was even more interesting, right? And then from there, I went to a turbo 4-cylinder, right? Back to 4 cylinders, but now turbo power. So I had all these fun to drive cars. In fact, many of those I tracked, took on road trips. Each one had a different powertrain. And I realized, wow, this is actually kind of fun. Driving cars with different engines, they have different character, right? So I know some of you are thinking, well, Shinoo, EV is not like an internal combustion engine. It doesn't have character, it doesn't have the sound, it doesn't have so many things that we've grown to love, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, for cruising around town, I'm an absolute convert and believer in EV. You get all the torque, you get so much smoothness, so I am a big believer. In fact, the first time I drove a Tesla Roadster, which many of you know is based on the Lotus Elise chassis, the first thing that came to my mind when I drove that car was that it felt like sailing, where my Elise felt like a speedboat. The Tesla Roadster, I was in a sailboat. So anyways, today we're gonna talk about this partnership that we have with Electrogenic out of England. Electrogenic have established themselves to be a OEM of EV powertrains, and they have done quite a few kits converting old classic cars. But they're also doing work for the British Defense Organization and have converted, some EV military vehicles. But where they're really getting known right now is these very comprehensive kits that they've created for classics, right? Many of you guys know that a lot of classic cars are sitting, languishing in people's garages, right? Most people that own cars are not really enthusiasts. They don't want to look after their car on a weekly basis like many old cars require, right? So these EV conversions from Electrogenic are giving these old cars that are just collecting dust in people's garages a new lease on life, right? They have created what I think is one of the most comprehensive kits. So their solutions actually drop right in without modification. In fact, apparently in England, the requirements there is you cannot even drill a hole into a car to mount these conversions if you want to make them street legal. So what Electrogenic have done is create these kits that are drop-in, bolting into stock location. And what I love about these guys is they use brand new batteries, brand new motors, and most importantly, they have their own software and control systems. So it's a fully integrated and complete package, right? And that's, to me, fundamentally different than most of the conversion kits that you find out there. There's a lot of companies selling various components and that you've got to kind of piecemeal together and make it work. These guys have got a complete package, right? And so we struck up a partnership, became their installer out here on the West Coast. And last year we actually did our first conversion, which was a 1966 Series 1 Jaguar XKE. And within 2 weeks, we converted the car. It was pretty amazing. They actually sent over a couple of technicians to work with our guys, and we managed to get it done in a matter of 2 weeks. I mean, we were actually driving the car even in a week and a half, actually. but there was more things to do from a drivability and tuning perspective. So, but by the end of that 2 weeks, we had a driving car, right? So based on that success, we actually sold a couple more kits. We sold another one for a 74 XKE, which we're converting now. The other kit that we've sold is for a 96 Land Rover Defender 90. That kit we're expecting sometime in May, and we'll be converting that car, right? And then we just sold a kit for a Delorean. So it'll be the first Delorean here in North America that will be converted. Electrogenic converted one last year, and it was a real resounding success. So we're super excited about doing one here, which should be probably fourth quarter of 2025, right? So having said all this stuff, you know, what I really love is that these EV conversions, one, are pretty straightforward with the installation. Two, they work really, really well. I put Stacy in that XKE with me last year, and we went out to put some miles on the car and went to dinner. And the first thing she says, oh my gosh, this is really smooth and it doesn't smell. And so anyhow, it's really, I think, an appropriate conversion for so many different types of cars. Is it ideal for sports cars? Well, you know, if you're really hustling a car aggressively through the canyons, you know, it depends, you know. In this Jag, it's actually, the weight distribution was a little bit better. On the V12 that we're doing, it's actually gonna be lighter. On a 911, they do a kit for the 911s. The weight distribution is actually better. Instead of being rear biased, it's, you know, a little bit further forward. Of course, the 911 purists might say, oh, that's terrible, you know. Well, it's fine, you know. I personally don't think these conversions, I'm not that excited about doing them on sports cars that I want to drive aggressively. Look, the fact is, when I want to have fun, where I'm really driving or riding aggressively, I still prefer ICE. But for cruising around town, going to a car show, going to dinner, you know, hanging out, I think these conversions really make a lot of sense. So let me know if you agree with me. You know, put your comments down below. But right now, we're super excited about the possibilities here, and we're really happy to be partnered with Electrogenic out of England, and think that there is a future here for those folks who are looking for a different horse for a different course. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.